When it comes to all of our cryptocurrency holdings, we are currently approaching a very risky region, which is something that many of you are not aware of. This holds true for several cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, XRP, and any other cryptocurrency that you most likely have stored in one of your cryptocurrency wallets. And today we are going to be exploring this topic with Jack Dorsey, who will be discussing the ways in which politics are planning to meddle with cryptocurrency. In many instances, cryptography is used in a manner that is contrary to what it was initially intended to represent. All of us should make sure that we are aware of this video, since it is really important. I can't think of very many other people who would be more qualified to discuss this topic than Jack Dorsey, since, well, he was the CEO of Twitter in the past. I can't think of very many other people. He has a great deal of experience in the social elements, including politics and, of course, cryptocurrency, which he was an early investor in. He has a lot of knowledge in all of these areas. Now, with all of that being said, let's get into it and let's make sure that the like button is pressed. In addition, with all of the noise that is occurring in the conversation, it seems as like we are kind of rushing towards it right now. In addition, I am not sure if we are aware of the counterfactuals that are present there, as well as the potential assaults that may be carried out utilizing it. Additionally, I believe that we will witness a number of huge positives, as well as a great number of failed promises and a great deal of bait and switch marketing. Bitcoin is a loser in the event that we get at a future in which everyone is dissatisfied and simply gives up on the thing because the person I chose did not deliver upon their promise. In light of this, it is imperative that we continue our search for those who are present for the principles, here for the origin, and here for what was written in the initial block of Genesis, as well as the problem that was discovered and the solution that was provided. I believe that we have lost, and I believe that society as a whole has lost if we forget that. I just want to say that with regard to the policy issues. I feel like we've had a victory in the legal area, and it's going to take some time for our opponents to build up various attacks. However, you should know that I am aware that they are on their way, but the regulatory and policy stuff is very serious. And in response to Matt's comment, I believe that the way we have these talks with policymakers and regulators is to point out the genuine dangers as opposed to the perceived and manufactured threats. And then we should try to disarm the conversation as much as possible and just play a little bit of game theory. In the same way that you compare the United States dollar to the grass and everything that BRICS is doing, why would you not want to construct, help build, or support an open alternative in order to have a third option? For example, in terms of the degree of flexibility and the degree of optionality that you have as a government or as a country that is protecting its inhabitants, it is as basic as mathematics. In addition, I concur with Matt that it poses a threat to the sovereignty of the nation. Additionally, there has been no discussion of artificial intelligence nonetheless. We have discussed a great deal of topics such as money, and we have also discussed speech with Nostra. Intelligence is something that we have not discussed. Moreover, intellect is likely one of the most expansive vistas that fall under that category. There is also a rising open source approach to artificial intelligence, but it is still in its infancy at the moment. In addition, it is extremely behind schedule. I have a feeling that it will eventually catch up, but it is completely reliant on resources and cannot access them. Moreover, there is a shortage of resources. As a result, Jack Dorsey has already made a lot of incredibly important points, and I believe that we can all agree on them regardless of the cryptocurrency that we actually support. I believe that you can all agree that we do want to have an alternative financial system in which we can essentially rule or not govern that is in our best interest. This is true regardless of whether the system in question is Bitcoin or XRP based. As he pointed out, the fight between the Chinese yuan and the BRICS alliance and the United States dollar is a conflict in which the majority of the time individuals such as yourself and I do not emerge victorious. In point of fact, there is a great deal of turmoil and regulation, as well as several other things that are not in our best interest to participate in. As a result, the fact that we are able to place our funds on the XRP ledger, which is a decentralized ecosystem and has the potential to even completely take over the banking system in Japan, amongst many other things, is a fantastic answer to this problem. Additionally, Jack Dorsey delves much farther into this topic, which in my opinion will alter the course of each and every one of your life if you truly take in what he has to say here. Therefore, pay attention to what Jack is going to say next. Very quickly, however, before we get into what Jack has to say about this topic, I would want to highlight that I did, in fact, end up taking profits on my XRP investment. Nevertheless, taking all of this into consideration, the present moment is still an excellent time to buy XRP so that you can take a leveraged long position. We have just received the cross between the orange and blue lines of the stochastic RSI, which indicates that we are likely to be heading in a direction that is significantly more green. When you take all of this into consideration, you might be asking why I ended up taking profits on the two open positions that I did open with you guys on my videos. I can see that we are actually in more bearish zone on the weekly chart, which is the reason why I am able to answer that question appropriately. In spite of the fact that there is a possibility that we will have a few more bullish green days in the near future, it is still quite probable that we will find ourselves in a red week, so that is something that should be kept in mind. Trading with leverage at this time is something that I believe to be a little bit more dangerous than it was in the past. On the other hand, this does not mean that you cannot participate in some rapid flips on some cryptocurrency purchases. Today, it is possible for you to purchase XRP. And if you guys utilize my link down below and trade using that link, you will not only be eligible for a variety of various amazing bonuses that are offered on the Margex exchange, but you will also receive significant discounts. Therefore, if you are going to do that, you need to make sure that you sign up and trade using my link. Also, let's return to Jack Dorsey for a moment. Why is it open source? There is no other method that I am aware of that is more efficient than open source. The fact that anybody can read the code, anyone can build on top of the code, anyone can own the code and fully change it, and everyone can design their own system is inherent to the nature of the system. This has been demonstrated by us time and time again. Open source software is the reason why the internet exists. Each and every device that you come across and interact with on a daily basis is constructed using open source software. Open source software is right at your fingertips. The use of open source software makes this call feasible. Now, all of the businesses that are using it might not recognize it, might not market that, surely benefit from it immensely and might not give back enough from everything that they've taken from the product that is helpful to people. But everything that we do in this world today is the consequence of a coder who wanted to learn something and was kind enough to give it away for free in order to learn more quickly, and disseminate an idea through the rest of the globe. There is no other development model that I have seen that allows for such a velocity, and I simply do not believe that it is possible. Open source software. To continue, we are having a lot of conversations about technologies that do not require authorization. I'm going to concentrate on permission, and Matt refers to these technologies as freedom technologies. When it comes to the majority of the contacts that we have in this society, we need permission from the government, from the corporate, or even from ourselves if we want to be able to talk or act in the manner that we desire. On the other hand, if we are going to construct technologies that do not require permission, we will require a permissionless development model. Open source software is the only method to accomplish this goal. And in many instances, this is done without a license, with licensees who are extraordinarily creative in their production of derivative works and even in their establishment of businesses based on those derivative works. That is not always consistent, but the fact that we have a legal structure surrounding ownership for this open source software is incredibly significant, really critical, and should also be preserved. This is something that should be defended. Most recently, it has been the target of an assault. The most recent shenanigans that were perpetrated by Craig Wright, which we have recently beaten, were not an attack on Bitcoin. Rather, they were an attack on Bitcoin. Rather, they were an attack against the open source development paradigm. In the event that he prevailed in those lawsuits, the open source development methods were all put in jeopardy. Moreover, there will be other assaults. It is not like that. There will be foes who are more technologically advanced. Furthermore, as we proceed with this conversation, it is not only about providing financial support to open source software developers, it also involves all of the mechanisms and infrastructure that surround that, such as legal defense, as well as pushback from policy and regulatory bodies. Those individuals who despise this material do not want to deal with anything that is legal related to it. They have no interest in dealing with anything that is related to compliance with policies or regulations. To such an extent that we have experienced a number of developers leaving the Bitcoin development team, and Mike is able to attest to this fact, for the sole reason that they are terrified of being sued or, in the worst case scenario, of having some other penalty imposed upon them. Therefore, as we contemplate open source and the means by which it might be funded in such a manner that these developers can have a sense of autonomy, I believe it is essential to take into account